welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really getting into the weeds of Amazon's Q3 2025 earnings call, specifically the CEO's opening remarks.
Yeah, we're not just glancing at the surface numbers.
No, definitely not. We want to understand the strategy, the big picture, the why behind all these massive investments they're making.
And Andrew Jassy kicked things off with some strong top-line figures. Revenue hit $180.2 billion. That's up 12% year over year if you strip out the currency effects.
Right, but the operating income number, that was interesting. They reported $17.4 billion.
Which sounds good, but...
Yeah, they immediately pointed out two pretty chunky one-off expenses in Q3. There was a, $2.5 billion FTC settlement?
And $1.8 billion earmarked for severance costs.
So take those out, and that $17.4 billion figure jumps to over $21 billion.
Exactly. And that's a crucial piece of context they wanted out there. It basically says the core business is throwing off significantly more cash than the headline number might suggest. It's like they're saying, look past the noise, the engine is strong.
It definitely signals underlying health. And they mentioned trailing 12-month free cash flow at $14.8 billion. So, the financial foundation seems solid.
Solid, yeah.
So our mission today really is to decode that strategic roadmap Jassy laid out. We're talking cloud, retail, advertising, and obviously the thread connecting it all, AI.
Focusing on those big foundational moves, right? The infrastructure bets, how they're using AI in retail. It's all connected.
Okay, let's start with AWS then. That seems like the place with the most obvious momentum right now.
For sure. The big news was growth reaccelerating to 20.2% year over year. That's the best rate they've posted in, 11 quarters?
11 quarters, yeah. That's significant.
It is, but you always have to remember the scale here. That 20% growth isn't on some small base. It's on a $132 billion annualized run rate.
Wow, so the actual dollar increase is just enormous.
Absolutely enormous. It shows companies are kind of moving past that optimization phase and are starting to spend more aggressively again on cloud.
And the customer signals look strong, too. They mentioned the backlog.
Yeah, the committed backlog grew to $200 billion by the end of Q3, which is just a staggering number in itself.
It really is.
But what I found fascinating was how Jassy framed it. He made a point of saying that the $200 billion figure doesn't even include several big deals they signed in October.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and he said those October deals, just those few combined, already exceed the total value of all the deals they closed in the entire third quarter.
Okay, so that's a pretty strong counter-narrative to anyone worried about slowing momentum or competition heating up too much.
Definitely feels like it. Plus, they dropped the Gartner stat 15 years straight as a leader in the strategic cloud platform Magic Quadrant.
Right, citing their broader and deeper array of capabilities.
Which basically translates to customers trust us for the core stuff and now increasingly for their complex AI workloads too.
That tees up the AI strategy perfectly. Jassy talked about it in terms of 3 layers, right?
Right.
Positioning AWS as providing the essential building blocks.
Yeah, the foundation models, the tools to build and run AI, and then the applications on top. And AWS is playing in all 3. So at the foundation model layer, you've got things like SageMaker.
For building and deploying.
Right. And then Bedrock, which seems increasingly central to their strategy.
Okay, let's pause on Bedrock for a second. What's the key advantage there? He mentioned better price performance specifically for inference. Why is that important for, someone listening?
That's a great point. Because inference, actually using the trained AI model day to day, that's where most of the cost accumulates over time. Training is a big upfront hit, sure.
But inference is constant.
Exactly. Millions, maybe billions of times a day. Bedrock offers a choice of leading models, but crucially, it optimizes the underlying AWS infrastructure to make running those models, the inference part, much, much cheaper than doing it elsewhere.
Ah, okay, so it's an economic play for enterprises.
Yeah.
Lower running costs.
A huge one, potentially. Makes adopting AI much more feasible at scale.
Got it. So moving up that stack, Jassy made a pretty bold claim about agents. He said, a lot of the future value companies will get from AI will be in the form of agents. That's the second layer, the agent economy idea.
This feels like a really important strategic focus for them. Agents aren't just chatbots answering questions. They're AI systems that can perform complex, multi-step tasks autonomously. They do stuff.
Okay, so how are they enabling this?
Well, they launched strands to make it easier to create agents, but the real infrastructure piece seems to be Agent Core.
Agent Core. Why do they need a specific thing for agent? Doesn't AWS already provide compute and all that?
It does, but agents have unique needs, especially in the enterprise. Think about security, managing state over long tasks, integrating with sensitive company data, scaling reliably.
Okay. So it's not just raw compute. It's the specialized plumbing needed to run these agents securely and effectively.
That's a good way to put it. Agent Core provides those pre-built infrastructure blocks designed specifically for deploying and managing agents, handling things standard compute might not address out of the box for this use case.
And is it getting traction? Are companies actually using it yet?
Seems like it. The examples were pretty specific. Sony and Ericsson are using it for secure, enterprise-wide AI deployment.
Okay.
But look at Cohere Health. They're using Agent Core to build agents that are cutting medical review times by like 30% to 40%. That's a direct impact on a major bottleneck.
Wow, that's significant ROI.
For sure. And they mentioned the Agent Core SDK. The toolkit for developers has been downloaded over 1 million times already, so clearly there's demand.
That uptake definitely suggests they've hit a nerve. But it's not just about enabling others to build agents, right?
Yeah.
AWS is building its own too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're putting AI agents to work internally and for customers.
Yeah.
Take Transform, their migration agent.
The one for moving off mainframes.
Exactly. They said it's analyzed nearly 1 billion lines of mainframe code and saved customers something like 700,000 hours of manual work just this year.
700,000 hours.
It's equivalent to about 335 developer years of effort. Just automated away.
That's incredible efficiency. And then there's QuickSuite, bringing that sort of consumer AI feel to business tasks.
Right. The idea there is turning projects that take months into something you can do in days, supposedly with over 90% cost savings. These ready-made tools are key.
Like the Kiro coding IDE.
Yeah, Kiro already got 100,000 developers using it in preview, processed trillions of tokens. And Amazon Connect, their contact center platform, now uses AI extensively. It's crossed $1 billion in annualized revenue run rate.
Okay, so the agent strategy has both an infrastructure and an application layer.
Definitely. They want to provide the picks and shovels with Agent Core, but also build some of the killer apps themselves.
All of this, the agents, the massive model training, the inference it points towards a huge need for computing power, right? Which brings us to capacity investment.
Exactly. You can't run an AI revolution without the engines. And Jassy was really clear about the scale of their build-out here.
What were the numbers?
Over the last 12 months, AWS added more than 3.8 gigawatts of power capacity. They explicitly said that's more than any other cloud provider.
3.8 gigawatts. That's a mind-boggling amount of power.
It really is, and they're not slowing down. They said they've already doubled their power capacity since 2022.
Okay.
And the plan is to double it again by 2027. This isn't just keeping up with demand. This feels like a massive front-loaded bet on future AI dominance.
A huge commitment. And a lot of that capacity is being filled with their own custom chips, like Trainium.
That's the vertical integration angle. They brought Project Rainer online. That's a huge cluster with nearly 500,000 Trainium 2 chips.
Is there a risk, though, relying so much on their own silicon? What if NVIDIA or someone else leapfrogs them? Does it lock them in?
It's definitely a calculated risk, that classic build versus buy decision. But the bet is that custom silicon, designed specifically for their stack, gives them unbeatable cost and performance for AI training.
And is it paying off?
Well, the numbers suggest it is. Trainium is apparently already a multi-billion-dollar business for them, and it grew 150% just quarter over quarter. That's explosive growth.
Wow.
And they mentioned Anthropic, a major AI player, is using it and expects to be running on over 1 million Trainium 2 chips by the end of this year. That's serious validation.
And it loops back to their services strategy, right? Connecting the chip to Bedrock.
Absolutely. They said the majority of the token usage on Bedrock, that key foundational service, is already running on Trainium.
Okay.
And the long-term vision Jassy painted. He thinks Bedrock could eventually be as big a business for AWS as EC2.
As EC2, their original compute service. That's ambitious.
Oh, hugely ambitious. But it shows how central they see Bedrock, powered by Trainium, becoming. Though, to be fair, they did stress they're still buying very significant amounts of NVIDIA chips, too, and working with AMD and Intel. So it's not purely an in-house strategy. It's diversified.
Okay, let's switch gears. Let's talk about the other huge part of the business. Retail. How is AI playing out there alongside their traditional focus?
Yeah, the retail side is all about applying these AI tools to improve the core pillars: selection, price, and convenience, especially delivery speed.
What were the highlights there?
Well, selection's up 14% since last quarter. But the really big news, I think, was the grocery innovation.
Ah, yes, combining fresh groceries with regular Amazon items.
Exactly. Customers in over 1,000 cities can now get fresh groceries and millions of other Amazon products all in one cart with free same-day delivery. That's a huge friction reducer for shoppers, a potential game changer.
That does sound convenient. And they mentioned some simpler features having a big impact, too.
Yeah, like the little add to delivery button lets you add forgotten items to an existing order. Apparently, it's been used over 80 million times already. Shows how small conveniences add up.
And delivery speed itself.
They're aiming for their fastest prime delivery speeds ever globally. And importantly, they're investing over $4 billion to expand the rural delivery network specifically.
Oh, interesting. So pushing speed in cities and expanding reach rurally.
Right. They said they've already increased the number of rural communities getting same-day or next-day access by 60%. It's a dual push, speed and coverage.
And underpinning a lot of the shopping experience now is Rufus, their AI assistant.
Yeah.
The numbers there were pretty eye-popping.
Yeah, 250 million active customers using Rufus this year. And they reckon it's on track to drive over $10 billion in incremental annualized sales.
Okay, how does an AI assistant drive $10 billion in extra sales? Is it just making checkout faster, or?
It seems to be more about discovery and conversion. Rufus can handle complex product searches, comparisons, answer detailed questions conversationally. It basically makes it easier for you to find what you didn't even know you were looking for, or clarify doubts quickly, leading to more completed purchases.
So it smooths the path from browsing to buying.
Precisely. It's AI directly boosting commerce. Similar momentum with their generative AI audio features and Amazon Lens Live for visual search.
And all those eyeballs on the retail site, that fuels the advertising business, right?
Absolutely. Ads brought in $17.6 billion this quarter alone, growing 22% year over year. It's a beast.
Where's that growth coming from?
I said it's strong across the board. They have this massive built-in audience, over 300 million ad-supported users just in the US. And they're expanding off Amazon reach, too, through their demand-side platform, the DSP.
Right, they mentioned some big DSP partnerships.
Yeah, integrating with Netflix, Spotify, SiriusXM. That means advertisers can use Amazon's tools to reach huge audiences even when they're not on Amazon properties. It extends their reach significantly. And live sports.
Huge interest there, apparently. The example was the NBA on Prime doubleheader, averaging 1.25 million viewers. That's attracting premium advertisers looking for engaged, large-scale audiences.
Okay, almost there. Let's just quickly cover the other bets, the sort of future growth areas Jassy touched on.
Yeah, just quick hits. The new Alexa Plus i, the more conversational version.
Yeah.
Customers are apparently talking to it twice as much as classic Alexa and completing 4 times more shopping journeys that actually end in a purchase.
Interesting.
Kuiper. Project Kuiper, the satellite internet project, is up to over 150 satellites now. They've hit speeds over 1 gigabit per second in tests, so making progress.
And Zooks.
Robotaxis are live in Vegas, and they just announced Washington, D.C. as their 8th testing city, so still pushing forward on autonomy.
So if you pull all that together, what's the main strategic thread from Jassy's perspective?
I think it's this dual focus.
Go on.
They're making massive upfront investments in the infrastructure for AI. That's the power capacity, the Trainium chips, agent core, betting big on powering the future. While at the same time,
they're immediately deploying AI applications like Rufus, like the grocery delivery integration, transformed to make their core retail business better, faster, more efficient right now.
Right. So the big takeaway, the sort of aha moment for you listening, is probably seeing how tightly linked these are.
Right.
It's not just AWS does AI infrastructure and retail uses some AI.
No, it's one giant loop.
They're building the foundational tech and being arguably its most demanding first customer to turbocharge their commerce engine. They want to own the AI cloud and the AI-powered checkout simultaneously.
It's a hugely ambitious play, which leads to, I think, a really interesting final thought for you to ponder.
Okay, leave us with something to chew on.
Given these absolutely colossal investments in capacity doubling power again by 2027, millions of custom ships coming online, what's the next big thing? What revolutionary AI application, maybe something beyond the agents or shopping tools we talked about, is going to be the first to truly push this massive new infrastructure to its limits?
Will it be something in science, robotics, something totally out of left field?
Exactly. What breakthrough is waiting for that kind of power? That's the next chapter we'll be watching for.